Welcome to Rhythm and Roads. I'm your host, Joshua Jacob. We have a very special guest with us. We have recording artist, songwriter, and composer Chris Oak. Welcome to Rhythm and Roads, sir.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you as well last month.
That was such a great show, dude. It was so much fun. I had such a good vibe from that.
Yeah, it was pretty chill, man. I enjoyed it, especially your set as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was, I think my favorite part was when people came up to me afterwards and was telling me how much the music like spoke to them and how impactful that was.
Oh yeah.
It's,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like why I do this. It's the whole purpose of it all.
Well, of course, man. Yeah, I actually really did enjoy a lot of your songs, especially the one that was dedicated to your late friend. Really just was wow.
Yeah, yeah, that song is called "Someone That You Would Miss," and it was about my buddy, right? That he was going through a lot of hardship during the last week before he passed away. I got to see him, and actually, what's amazing, Josh, is I finally got the first like rendition of the music video
Oh, you
recently.
did. Oh wow.
Yeah, and we're gonna release it actually in September. Check it out in September. We're gonna be dropping that music video for Suicide Awareness Month for my buddy.
Oh
So it's gonna be
wow.
really special. Yeah, it's
September
pretty
what?
September 1st.
Oh, first. Okay, cool.
Yeah, right at the beginning of September.
My birthday is actually September 2nd, so that's pretty cool. That's around right next to mine. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. Nice little birthday present for you.
yeah, man. Good time to launch that song or the music
Oh,
video.
yeah,
Yeah, very cool.
absolutely.
And that's one thing I do want to talk about that later in this interview. Just the suicide awareness. Of course, it's in September, but more just even now for those that do need
Yeah,
the help, because yeah, it's just there's so much help out there for those that are in need. So we'll talk about that later on. But we'll definitely start with your story, brother. Season one, actually, yeah, season one, episode one of Chris Oak. When
there
it
we go.
started, man. So, yeah, how did you get like? So, what sparked the interest to be a songwriter, singer, musician, as well as a composer? I mean, that's a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. I was really looking forward to this interview because it'd be nice to share my story with those that don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so I have been playing piano. I've been classically trained in piano since the age of 6. And
Wow.
right now I'm currently 30. And so at 6 years old, I started doing classical piano, and I realized really early on that, of course, you're a little kid. You don't want to be playing Beethoven all the time, right? Like, you'll play it, but like, you don't really want to play Beethoven like willingly all the time. Oh yeah, watch me play Moonlight Sonata. This is great. And so what happened was when I started middle school, or like late elementary school, when I was in like middle school, 11 or 12 years old, I started to realize that I didn't need to just play classical music. I could actually play music that I enjoyed. So one of the first bands that I fell in love with was actually Green Day. So Green Day is one
Oh
of my
yeah,
favorite
man.
bands of all time. And then the next band was Linkin Park. So
Yeah.
I figured out how to play "In the End" by Linkin Park on the piano with the dun 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 dun, and that was the thing that sparked my interest. Music thing that I've been learning is more than just doing drills and doing exercises on a keyboard. It's more so like I can actually perform the music that I enjoy, and that's actually what made me fall in love with it. By
Very.
the time I hit 18, I was going to college, and I went to Penn State University to study mechanical engineering.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So while I was there, I asked my mother. She's like, "Is there anything you need? Like we haven't got you like clothes or supplies or whatever." I said, "Honestly, I need a piano. Like I need something to play." So my family was so generous and was able to buy me a piano that had a pedal that was mobile that I could actually set up in my dorm room and play piano. And it was during those moments that I started to compose and write my very first songs at about 18 years old.
Wow.
So it was really really cool. And then here's what. So side quest. When I was 16, I met a friend of mine named Hunter Morley. Shout out to Hunter Morley if you're listening to this. Thanks for introducing me to the ukulele because he had a ukulele in his bedroom, and I learned how to play the ukulele by hanging out with him and just doodling on the thing because I played piano. So playing the ukulele was just second nature. I had
Wow.
another friend of mine in high school. His name was Brandon Gawweiler, and shout out to Brandon. I haven't spoken to him in years. But that kid definitely inspired me. He had a guitar and he would always play. and I learned how to play guitar through him. And, so from there, I'm self-taught in all these instruments except piano. Piano is the only one I've been formally trained in. Every other instrument that I've picked up, I've pretty much like taught myself.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So for those guys that I met in high school, they introduced me to these instruments, and when I went to college, I further practiced and trained and started writing. So finally, to get to this point, which is really important, is so I've been writing music now since 18, and I'm 31. What's that? That means I've been writing for 13 years. I've been writing music for 13 years now.
Long
And
time.
yeah, a while, like almost half my life. And so I've been creating a repertoire of a bunch of songs that I've written over this time. A lot of it is piano songs. A lot of it's instrumental piano music that has no lyrics to it. So the stuff that does have lyrics is the stuff that's on guitar, ukulele. And what's interesting is that I realized that the piano music has its niche. It may not be as popular as like the pop songs that have lyrics to it. So I decided, let's do the pop songs first to build my artistry up. And then as I have some sort of to do in the future, so here's a little, forecast of what's coming on the musical highway. Is I'm going to be dropping more instrumental piano stuff as well to like complement, all the different styles of music that I've been writing over the years.
Okay.
So the last part is like where we're at today. So I graduated from college with my degree in engineering, and I started working in corporate. Right. This is not what I want to do. If I stay here, I'm going to definitely be miserable with my life. Because I'm just doing it for the paycheck. I'm doing it because it's a stable paycheck and a good job, but it never fulfilled my soul.
Right.
And I told myself I always wanted to be my own businessman. So I started a cannabis company called Hazy Trees at 23 because the legalization of marijuana happened in California in 2018. 2017, I was like, well, how often is the legalization of marijuana going to happen in my lifetime? So I realized, well, it's either cannabis and I build a business with it, or I take all this same money and time and I can put it into music. The challenge I had with music at the time was that I had an experience where I was going to a studio actually in Costa Mesa called 17th Street Studio.
Oh, cool.
And this guy had worked with Green Day and had worked with Avenged Sevenfold. And so I was like, okay, well, this dude produced these guys and like worked on music with them. Like, I want to work with a professional at this level. But unfortunately, it's expensive. It's $250 an hour. Wow. Within a couple sessions, I went broke. And I barely even got a song finished. I'm like, I can't really sustain this. I need a way to afford to make. Yeah. When I had the chance to either pursue music again or pursue cannabis, I realized, one, the legalization is only going to happen once in my lifetime. So this is a really unique opportunity, something I enjoyed, something that I consumed, something that I thought was important for the world, because I think cannabis is a very beautiful and powerful plant that can benefit society, in a lot of ways. Or I could go into music, which the music industry has always been there, and it's been there for a long time. So I didn't see. So I told myself this, let's do this. Let's do business first. Let's make my money. Let's make a way to sustain my business so that I can feed myself and I can live doing something I love. And then from there, I'll take all the excess that's not going into living life and investing and saving and put it into my music. And actually, that's the beautiful part of where we're at today is now over the last 2 years, I've been able to make enough income with my endeavors that I'm finally able to. I found a great producer. His name is Daniel Bourget. I've been working with this gentleman for about 2 years. He's my main producer. That most of my music you've been hearing is coming out. Yeah. This guy's like a Mr. Miyagi. He's 40 something years old at this time, and this dude is. You know how they say you need 10,000 hours to master something?
Yeah, yes, I've heard that. Yeah,
right. This guy's pretty much put in like 30,000 hours at this point. Like he knows what he's doing, and I have a lot of love and respect for him. Yeah. And he actually collaborates with me on the composition and production when it comes to the full band, aspect. So essentially, if it wasn't for my cannabis business, I wouldn't have the money to afford to finally invest into my music and myself.
Okay.
And the cherry on top, ready, which I think is the greatest part that could lead to more discussion. the music industry has dramatically changed, right? In the last 5 to 10 years, a lot of independent artists are building a following and a sustainable career
Mhm.
with a loyal fan base ever since the streaming happened. When the streaming happened, there was a double edged sword of like, artists were not making money because record companies are not selling records anymore. They're not selling songs anymore.
Right.
They're losing money to. And what's also interesting is that a lot of the industry has been kind of exposed to social media where like artists are talking about how fucked up the deals are, about how it's like, they'll do an 80-20 split and I'm going to give you $1 million, record deal, but you have to pay me that back in interest with your 20. And then after that, we keep the rights to your masters. It's a very predatorial type of contract deal that they've been making in the music industry for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I live at this time where social media is empowering artists to have their independence and build themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, it costs more capital of your own money, right? It's gonna cost a lot of time too because you don't have the same resources. But in terms of what I'm seeing is that I'm seeing for the first time ever, artists don't need record companies to produce their music, and also they get to keep the rights to their stuff as long as they're willing to put the investment, time, resources to make it happen. So hence why we're on this journey. I believe that if I started at 23 years old trying to make my music, I'd probably look a lot different. I'd probably be a lot farther, but I definitely didn't have the money that I have now to be able to afford what I'm doing.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
What a story.
So it's been, and I just appreciate you for asking. So I could have done music 10 years ago. And I was still writing, but I didn't feel ready to invest the money into it because I didn't have a sustainable way to afford it consistently.
I see.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
And now you are, and now it's all full time, full force, everything in.
pretty much. Like I'm still running my cannabis company. I have a hot sauce company too called Booty Sauce, which is a lot of fun.
What's the name of the hot sauce?
Island Spice Co.
Oh, Booty Island. Yeah.
Yeah, Booty Island Spice Co. We make a peach mango habanero hot sauce called the Gnarly Safari Sauce. It's so good on seafood and eggs and breakfast burritos. Amazing. But essentially, for informational purposes, right now, my current rate, it costs me about $1,500 to about $2,000 to make a fully produced song.
Wow.
As you can tell, it's not cheap, and if I were to dish out $2,000 a month to like drop a song every month, that's basically rent.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
It's basically rent, and like I have to pay for a place to live. I have to feed myself and like survive. So it's definitely important that being able to go on this journey, I had some sort of way to afford this thing, because I am essentially investing into myself, right? I'm investing into my art, I'm investing into myself, with the goal to essentially preserve what I've created, because it will disappear when I pass away. All of it's in here. So I have an existential crisis where it's like, it's funny. I didn't do music to be famous. I didn't do music because I wanted to be popular, have people be like, "Oh, look at this cool shit that I do." Like, I didn't care to be rich, because if anything,
Yeah.
I did this because I have an existential crisis, right? Been writing music since I was 18. I have a whole library of shit that I need to record, and it's all in this thing. And when I die, it's gonna go with me. And just the thought of that just breaks my heart. It like literally brings me to tears, And I put so much of my heart, soul, energy, time, love into this shit that it's like, what a shit. When I'm done,
Right.
So what I want to do is I'm on the journey of preserving my work for myself, so that way I can have it outside of my body, so I can appreciate it, whether I forget it in the future, whether I pass away and I can't produce my music anymore. So that's why I do it. You know what I mean? It's for myself, and if other people just so happen to enjoy it and appreciate it, then
Yeah.
it's all the more worthwhile. Essentially,
that's really true. What your point is the fact that all your ideas and all the songs are in here, and that's why I mean, yeah, you wish you could just like, here's all my songs out in 1 year, but it's gonna take time.
all right, right.
But
Well,
I
money
want to
takes
ask you,
time to
man,
learn.
yeah, what new songs are you planning on bringing out anytime soon?
That's a great question. So I'm currently working on releasing my very first album, which is all the pop music. So I'm doing it because it's pop music and has lyrics and people can sing along to it, right? So the first chapter right now is indie pop. I'm trying to get a 10-song album completed, and I'm gonna release the songs every 6 to 8 weeks is my goal.
Okay.
I've seen that people are following to promote a song, keep it pumping so like people get it stuck in their ears, right, an earworm, and then finally not bombard people and overload with so much of the same thing where they lose interest and get bored. There's always when it's starting to depreciate, there's a new thing that comes out and captures the attention again and keeps the momentum going.
Right.
So one of the songs I'm really excited for that's going to come out soon is my song Smile. So I have a live recording of Smile, which is going to be right now on my Spotify if you check it out. Yeah. But it's a live recording I did on YouTube with no edits, no production or anything. So I have the fully produced version of Smile that's going to come out. It's perfect the way I want it. So I'm excited for that. My most popular song right now is the song I'll Wait For You. It seems to be like base and community tends to respond well to. They're like, yo, I love that song, and I love it too. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. So I'm actually going to release a acoustic piano version, which is going to be the piano version of it.
Yeah.
The song I'll Wait For You is interesting. The pop version that you hear on like Spotify or any streaming platform, it's not the original. The original I'll Wait For You is actually a piano ballad.
Wow, really? Okay.
So for me to release the pop version first, which is the more catchy one, and then now I'm going to go back to the ballad, it's going to be really cool because now people get to hear the original version of the song I'll Wait For You, which is really special. Okay. And then, of course, we have the song Someone That You Had Missed that's going to be coming out August 31st, September 1st. So that's the one I'm really looking forward to, and we're going to have a beautiful music video released, conveying and capturing the story. My goal with that, of course, is, we discussed earlier, is to, show other people that they're not by themselves. There are other people that feel that way too, and you're not alone. And there is people that care, if you were gone.
Right.
So yeah. So those are the things I'm looking forward to that's coming down the assembly line soon.
Well, your announcements definitely made me smile, so.
Let's go.
As a song Smile.
Good. That's the goal.
Bring that in with that, tie it in with that song Smile. But hey, that's pretty cool that you're in the cannabis biz.
Thank you.
It's pretty cool. I was actually watching a show, Jim Belushi. He actually has a show on Discovery Plus about growing cannabis, and he actually has his own farm.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Jim. And
I've heard of him. Yeah, he's very famous.
Oh yeah, very. Yeah, and that's why he's been out of the picture of, I guess, the movie scene or the television scene for a while, because he's got his own farm. He has his own farm, and it's doing very well. So now they did a series on Discovery Plus about his farm, and it's hilarious. It's a funny show, but it's really educating.
It's honestly, here's what's funny. Okay, the cannabis industry was something that I was always part of the community. Like, I was a stoner, and like from 18 in college, I was a stoner. Like, I was about 420 culture. I still am. Love the community, love the culture. It's why I fell in love with doing this. Yeah. But with my arrogance as an engineer, right? Like, I build shit. Like, I build machines. I run factories and stuff like that. You know what I mean? With my arrogance, I was like, well, hippies grow me. It's just the plant. Boy, was I in for a surprise. It is by far, in my opinion, one of the most challenging plants I've ever learned how to cultivate. And I'm so humbled now. And I have such a deep appreciation for those that do this craft like myself, because it's farm labor. You're literally busting your ass every day, months on end. It doesn't matter if you do a good job for a day. It doesn't matter if you do a good job for a week. You have to do a good job for months with no fuck-ups. You want to get good weed. Imagine an Olympic athlete doing tumbles, and they have to score a 10 every freaking day, all the time. me a break. That's really hard. It's really hard.
Man, that's a lot of pressure on you, man.
It's a lot. So I became very humbled, and I have a lot of respect for people that cultivate cannabis and that are in the industry because it's not for the faint of heart. Try
Dang.
growing in your backyard is nothing compared to trying to grow in a warehouse. Thousands of plants. It's a way big. It's a way big difference.
What's the name of your cannabis co?
It's called Hazy Trees.
Oh yeah,
Hazy
Hazy Trees.
Trees.
Okay.
Yeah. So my brand is Hazy Trees, and I actually created it because I started to actually breed my own cannabis. So I started to cross strains together and started to work different genetic lineages.
Oh wow.
And it's really challenging in order to make a new strain, a new varietal of
Yeah.
cannabis. Like for example, like the Kush family, right? Another one would be like the Haze family. Another one would be the Cake family, like wedding cake.
Yeah.
Have a lineage, have a varietal, you need to be working it for many generations. And so when we create a hybrid, we call it an F1 hybrid, the Fetal 1. When you take those F1 seeds and you crossbreed them again in the second generation, you get what's called Fetal 2, and then etc. goes Fetal 3, Fetal 4, Fetal 5, 6, 7. When you hit generation 8, you officially could say that the genetics are homogenous,
Oh wow.
have a new varietal, a new lineage of cannabis. You know what I mean? So for me, I've been cultivating cannabis professionally for 8 years. I've been breeding for about like 6 of those 8. And even still to this day, I haven't had enough time, energy, dedication to finally create a whole new varietal of cannabis. So I have a lot of like F1, F2, F3, F4 hybrids, but to get to basically my workload that I've already done. So it's a lot of work. It's really hard to create a new strain. It takes a lot of time.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing all that, man.
you're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome, and that's why I call it Hazy Trees because I need to brand it under something.
Well, yeah, no, that's cool. I do want to move into the story of that song based on your late friend. You want to share about it real quick?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that song is probably one of the most profound. Yeah, someone that you would miss. So on November 2023, I think 2023, to the 2023 or 2022, can't remember, one of those. My buddy Gahiji Lewis was his name. He was a brilliant cultivator. So he was also a cannabis cultivator. He loved cannabis. He was interested in the environment, marine ecology as well. He's gonna butcher me in his grave for not saying his credentials correctly, but it's okay. He loved nature. He loved animals. He loved plants, and he wanted to find a way to like protect and conserve the environment. So when he got into cannabis, he loved cannabis. He loved to smoke it. He loved to grow it. He loved to breed with it, and he was a really close friend of mine. And he was trying to do research with Stizzy actually in their tissue culture laboratory. So there's an article that came out about him where he hit this level, and I was so proud of him.
Oh wow.
And what happened was, unfortunately, Stizzy started doing cuts of their staff because they were spending way too much money and they needed a way to cut costs. So they let go of staff, and unfortunately, he was let go. And at this time, he was also volunteering. I don't know if it was a church or if it was a community center, a school or something, where he was educating people how to garden and how to like take care of plants and how to grow your own food, how to be sustainable and protect the environment and not create more pollution. He was dating a really important girlfriend of his at the time that they had broken up after many years, and so he was very heartbroken about that. I don't want to mention her name just out of respect because maybe just keep it anonymous. But there was a very important woman in his life that he loved her very dearly, and unfortunately they broke up because a lot of things, and the work, the lack of financial security, the work that he was doing wasn't being fulfilling. He wasn't finding emotional fulfillment and intimacy with people that he was trying to talk to or meet with, and he was just really struggling with like what he felt was important in his life. He felt and expressed to me that he felt like he was always being a burden to other people because like he was always stressed out and struggling, and like he I don't know, he felt bad that like he was putting this, weight upon those around him. And one of the things that it caused him to do that I noticed into himself, he didn't really open up too much to other people. And so what happened was this. So I called him the week before he passed, and I said, "Hey, bud, how you doing? I'm coming up to LA. You want to hang out?" And he's like, "Honestly, bro, I'm not doing that good. I'm actually doing pretty fucking terrible." And I was like,
Wow.
"Okay, well, all right, okay, well, how about this? How about we go to the gym? Let's go work out, and we just talk about it. And is it something you like to do? Right? Let's go do that." So we go to the gym, we go work out, and while we're working out, I'm hearing all these things, all these different things that I explained before that he was going through, and essentially I was like, "Dang, dude, like." You gotta talk to people about this shit. Like, how is this your first time talking about this stuff? He goes, honestly, like in a while, yeah. I'm like, what about you gotta talk to people about this, dude? Like, I'm so happy I could be here for you, but like, don't you have any other friends you can tell this to? And he's like, what friends? I was like, what friends, dude? Like, I don't really hang out with anyone. You're pretty much the only friend I have. You're like one of my best friends, bro, that I actually like spend time with. Everyone else is just kind of there. And it made me really realize how alone he felt.
Wow.
He felt very alone. And it's not because he liked to be alone. It's just that was his circumstance that he was experiencing. Yeah, he could go and network and socialize with more people. Yeah, he could get out more often and try to do whatever he could to make an effort, but he wasn't really feeling fulfillment. You know what I mean? He wasn't feeling fulfillment in the relationships and the friendships and his work, with his money and his purpose. There's a saying in Japanese called ikigai, which is the intersection of what you're passionate about,
Yeah.
what you're good at, and what makes you money.
Mm.
You know what I mean? What you love, what this and that. So I told him, I was like, we got to find your ikigai, because that's gonna allow you, and what I think is gonna allow you to find your purpose again,
Right.
and find a way to live through your purpose and feel fulfillment, but also have some financial security as well.
Right.
And so I asked him, and I was like, if you could do anything in the world, what would it be? He's like, honestly, just travel and see nature. And I was like, then we should do like an Anthony Bourdain type of thing, or like or like a Steve Irwin type thing, where you're doing a documentary about the process and you're sharing it with the world. It was like we could just put it on YouTube. And he's like, okay, Chris, but with what money? I'm like, well, that's a good point. Let's start locally and then globally, as they say. But still, I understand where he's coming from. So when he passed, I got a phone call about a week later. My friend Marie, she called me and she was crying on the phone, and she had told me that unfortunately Gahiji had hung himself, and so he used from what I was told, he had used his belt. So he used a belt to do it.
Jeez.
And actually, what you'll see in the music video actually is that being portrayed is I have my friend that is playing my friend Gahiji, the actor. He puts it around his neck to show that, So when Gahiji passed, it was really hard for me and for a lot of people. He was one of my best friends. I mean, I spent a lot of time with him, and he was brilliant. He was brilliant. He loved the earth. He loved humanity. He loved nature. He wanted to protect it. He wanted to make the world, healthier and better for the longevity of, humanity. He had a deep care for everything that he was doing and everyone around him. Like, he gave a shit. He really did. He gave a lot of shit about everything. And that's why when I went to his funeral, I had a moment where I got to talk about my relationship with him and pay my respects to him.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I said that I'll never forget, which is probably the most important thing, is that I said, as heartbroken as I am, I'm more heartbroken for the earth and for humanity, because he was a man that was brilliant, that was actually trying to make the world a better place for all of us.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's one of the things where I was like, I mean, I could be selfish and disappointed and sad that my friend's gone, but realistically speaking, he was doing good for the whole world, with whatever he could. And I think that's all that matters,
Right.
was that.
I agree.
So that's why I wrote that song. It was a form of therapy for myself emotionally, to let out my pain and my grief. but it was also a way to convey what he was going through, what he was telling me, what he was feeling.
Right.
And I realized that he is himself. There are countless people on this planet that feel that way, feel a sense of hopelessness, feel a sense of who would care if I was gone?
Mm.
Like if I was not here, who would really care?
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to make sure I conveyed in that song was that, a lot, a lot of people would care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give people a sense of like they're not by themselves. You know what I mean?
Right, man. Just want to say, man, thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's pretty deep. Um,
Pleasure.
yeah,
My pleasure.
and we've all been through some moments like that where we feel alone. We feel like not, I mean, I've been at times like, well, in my past when I was a teenager, like I don't have a lot of friends. There's times where I felt very alone and it sucks, man. Just like you said, just where there's a lot of people that are crying out just to be heard. They have a voice. They want to be heard. I mean, and that's the thing is sometimes they don't have that chance to be heard and then they feel like, well, there's no one out there for me. And that's why we're doing this and that's why we have you and we have people to be the light, to be the voice for others. That's what Rhythm and Roads platform is all about. You have a story, come on and share your story because you have a voice. You have a story. Every story matters. You know,
It's such a privilege to be part of this today. I really appreciate it.
oh yeah,
It's
man.
really, really, really special.
It is very
You
special.
know, there's a line that I wrote purposefully in the bridge it goes like this: well, my life has come to an end, and I will always think of you as my friend. Try to remember me and tell my story to all the world so they can see.
Wow.
I felt that that was the best way to convey the fact that his passing will be remembered and will be honored and will be shared with others that have felt the same kind of pain that he'd felt
Yeah.
before his last days.
Right.
If there was a way I could have stopped him, I would. I
Yeah,
that's one of my friends. Go for it. Go for it.
oh no, I was just gonna say, just that moment when you had with him at the gym, whoever thought that would have been the last. You know what I mean? And here he was pretty much pouring his heart out to you and telling you how he felt, and it was just those moments of you never would think about it, and that's why it's very important for people to reach out to those in need and really
Yeah.
be be there to hear and listen, but also follow up with it. And
So,
I just yeah, that's such a. I mean, I couldn't imagine losing my best friend or my brother, who's also like my best friend, and just to think like you hear someone share their heart out, but then all of a sudden, a week later, they're no longer here. And that's just wow, that breaks my
just
heart.
man, it does. It breaks my heart too. Life is very precious,
It is.
and we take things for granted because we don't think about it. We're so caught up in our hustle bustle of our life. I got to work. I got to pay my bills. I got to make this money. I got to do this and that. I'm not happy with my life because I'm not rich enough, and I don't have the nice ass car, and I don't have the luxury that I want to have. And it's very funny because at the end of the day, it's like a hamster just running on a wheel, you know. and
True.
and we and we,
Very
and we
true.
lose touch of
Yeah.
how precious that time is that we have.
Yeah.
Family, our loved ones. It's important that we remind ourselves while we're doing this little rat race, right? That we
Right.
remind ourselves that through all the hustle, even though you should hustle and chase your goals and dreams,
No, of
no,
course.
don't forget, that every moment you have with those people, live it to the fullest, enjoy it to the fullest, because you really don't know how long it's going to last.
Exactly, my man.
Yeah,
Exactly.
God forbid that like your last moment you spent just stressed it that that was your last time seeing someone that you loved,
Right.
without even realizing it because you're occupied and stressed out about life, and not just there in the moment, enjoying it.
Yeah.
So,
And I want
so
to
yeah.
and I want to talk to you real quick about that too. Is a lot of us, and I totally agree, and I work on it myself, is that we don't at times live in the moment.
Mhm.
We think about tomorrow and the future, and I'm not saying it's not bad to have goals and plan the future, but sometimes we lose out on being alive today that we're not living for today. Our
That's
mind
correct.
our mind is elsewhere. And throughout the whole day, it could be like that, where our mind's elsewhere. And then the thing is, when you get home and you're at night, you think, "Dang, I didn't even really enjoy today. I didn't even,
Mhm.
I didn't even enjoy the little moments of the little things of today." You know what I mean?
Hey, Josh, have you heard of the saying how when you're anxious, it's because you're worried about the future, and when
Yeah,
you're depressed, it's because you're thinking about the past. And
I
only
something like that.
and
Yeah,
only when you're at peace are you currently present.
that's oh man, I haven't heard that in a while, but yeah, I do agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
true.
yeah. And it's mind blowing, to take a
Yeah,
step back and realize where you're at and what you're doing.
yeah, yeah. And I want to dedicate a song to your friend by John Farman. It's called you. It's called This is called "You Have a Voice." I think it's called Yeah, I think it's called "You Have a Voice."
You
Very
have a
catchy
voice.
song, but what it really talks about is, yeah, you have a voice and make it out, be out there and say something to get that out what you need to say. Yeah,
I'm going to go and listen to that after this interview.
I'm gonna
That
send
sounds
it to you.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's a very great song, man.
Oh, thank you. That'd be awesome.
But yes, I mean, and I really want to encourage those that are watching is if you need help by going through a breakup or you've been through certain situations in your life, feel free to reach out to family, friends, those that are close to you, and it's don't feel ashamed, don't feel like, oh, they're gonna think of me like, oh, who cares? Stop feeling down about yourself or you'll get over it. No, like really get the help you need. And I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you, like I went through a breakup in November, right? And I really was in love with this woman, but I'm still going seeking counseling. I'm doing that on the end because I need to be healed from that. It was, and I'm keeping myself
dramatic.
busy by doing what I'm doing, but then also I need to take care of myself emotionally,
Yes,
and
sir.
there's no shame in going to a counselor. There's no shame in getting the help you need because you need to take care of you. And if you take care of
Yeah.
you, I was telling this to a uh, some filmmakers yesterday,
Mm,
that if you take care of you and you're mentally, emotionally healed from that, then you get to see a life that you're opening newer doors because you got the help to get to that. You know what I mean?
right.
Because it's like you're so caught up on thinking about the past and then you're not living in the past, you're living in the present, but
Hmm.
you're missing out on so much of what life is offering you right now and what you
Absolutely.
could have in the future if you were to get the healing to let go of the past by finding the help, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. I remember my buddy Daniel. His name's Daniel Aguilar. He actually, we were very close, and I told him the news, and I told him what happened. Same thing that I just told you,
No.
and he said, and I told him how I was sad that I couldn't do more, and he said, Chris, you know what, dude? You literally did the best thing you could have done as a friend.
Right.
You were there for him. You heard him out. You spent time with him.
Yeah.
And there's not really much more you could have done. But just know you did good. Like you did the best you could. And I feel so reassured now because I have some people that ask me if I regret the fact that I feel like I wish I could have done more. And yeah, of course I do. But my friend Daniel really made it clear to me. He's like, really, what more could I have done?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What more really could I have done? I mean, probably slept over and make sure he was not going to do anything stupid, but but at the same
But
time,
the thing
like
is, you don't know that,
unrealistic.
right? No
I
one.
don't know that. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's unrealistic. But at the end of the day, for those of you guys that are watching, anyone that has any kind of thing that they're going through, there should be no shame, and there is no shame, at least in my circle, and there shouldn't be in anyone else's.
Right.
That if they're going through things, they have the ability to have somewhere to go to talk to people,
Right.
especially people that they love.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I'm glad that I could be there for my friend,
Yeah.
and that's the best I could have done.
That's right.
That's it. I want to tell you a quick little story. So I have a buddy of mine. His name is Troy Metio. This guy lives in South Africa. So I met him when I was there traveling abroad about 8 years ago. And something really special happened while I was there. I decided to ditch my flight to stay in South Africa an extra month.
Wow.
And I ended up knowing him only for like 2 months. And I was like, hey, we're friends now. Can I crash at your house? And he's like, for how long? I'm like, a month. He's like, let me go ask my girlfriend. And she freaked out. She's like, you don't know this guy. What if he kills us in our sleep? Like, you just met this dude. What are you doing? And he's like, just, he seems like a cool dude. I
Yeah.
smoked weed with him. I played music with him. He seems really cool. Like, I'm gonna give him an opportunity. Apartment, and we became very good friends. Just so that way I could like not make him feel I was taking advantage. I actually asked him like, "How much is your rent?" And he told me, and I gave him a third of his rent. I was just like, "Take my money." And he's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. Just you're giving me a place to stay. Just out of respect, just take this." And then his girlfriend was like, "Dang, that really helped us financially." Like, okay, I like him. He's cool. Like, I respect this. So what happened was I called Troy for the first time in a long time, about a year ago or last year,
Yeah.
and I called him and I said, "Hey, how you been?" And he's like, "Honestly, dude, not fucking good." And I was like, "Really? This sounds awfully familiar." Because my buddy Gahiji unfortunately passed away two and a half years ago, and this was last year.
Mhm.
So Troy was going through it. Troy was dealing with very similar things, stressing out with finances, heartbroken with this girl that he gave a job
Yeah.
working as a safari guide over in South Africa. He left his job to go and like be with her, and he wasn't doing his music anymore because he had sold his equipment. He was just not feeling fulfilled, and he was really depressed and stressing out with money and love, and I've been there, done that, right? I've seen this before with my friend. So I said, "Hey, dude." He attempted to commit suicide, unfortunately, like about a month ago, like after I'd called him, and he was just like, "Yeah, dude, I've just been in a really dark place. Like it's been really messed up." And I said, "Okay, well, I have a question for you. How about you come visit me in the United States?" And he's like, "Bro, I'd love to, but with what kind of money?" And I said, "Don't worry about the money. You want to come to the United States." The United States, because he's never been. He's always wanted to. So my company, right, Hazy Trees, was doing pretty well, and I had a little bit of extra income. So
Yeah.
I said, "You know what, dude? Look at this." I showed him like money. I was like, "I have $1,000 cash right here. How much does the flight cost?" I looked it up, $950 from Cape
Wow.
Town to LA. And I said, "I got $1,000 cash right here that I can use. If I buy you a flight, will you come?" And he's like, "Chris, that's too much money. Like, you don't need to spend that on me, bro. It's a lot to ask of you. Like, no, I don't feel comfortable with that." I said, "Screw the comfortability, bro. If I buy you a flight, are you coming or not?" And he said, "Of course I'm coming." I'm like, "Then yeah, then done. You're coming." And
Yeah.
I bought him a ticket. And the moment the moment I showed him I bought him a ticket, he was like mind blown. He's like, "Bro, no one's ever done this.
Wow.
8 years ago, you let me sleep on your couch, on your floor at your apartment. You didn't even know me, and this is just me returning the favor." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as soon as that happened, what I saw immediately, which was so powerful, was he was so excited. Now he was still going through a lot of darkness at the time, and I was keeping in communication with him because, of course, we need to get his visa. We need to make sure he packed his bags, got all the things he needed, plan out his little trip. But the thing was that he finally had something he was looking forward to,
Yeah.
something positive that he was really excited for. And even before he came, like the weeks before, there were instances where he was going through some really hard stuff. And he was reaching back out to me. He goes, "I just want you to know, dude, the one thing that's keeping me going right now is knowing the fact that I'm going to come see you and spend some time with you."
Wow.
And it's just like I have really nothing else going for me right now that's like making me feel any kind of positivity. And spent 2 weeks with me. And the week before he came to visit me, the place he was working for, which was like a travel agency,
Yeah.
they let him go.
Oh, no
They
way.
let him go. So he was just like, he calls me the week before. He's like heartbroken again. He's like, "Bro, like I just can't seem to get a fucking break from life, dude.
Oh,
Like already stressing about money. Finally had a little bit of work coming in. Place like literally fires him right before he's about to come. And the whole reason why he was only going to be here for 2 weeks is because he needed to be back to work. So he came, stayed with me. Immediately, I could tell within like the first week, his whole mindset and demeanor shift to become more positive. Give me 1 second. And what happened was he he immediately started feeling happier because he was in a new environment. experiencing a new thing, and it just started to really show him that like everything that he was stressing out about, everything that was bothering him back at home, it didn't need to just be that way. You know, he can live his life in a different manner, and there is a different way to he
Yeah.
was experiencing. What happened was 2 weeks after he was staying here, I told him, I said, you know what? Why do you have to go back? You don't have work. You don't have a job. Like, why
Right.
don't you stay here longer? And he's like, with what money? I'm like, oh, I just so happen to be going to work as a stagehand part time. And I'm going to be working at this festival called Ohana Music Festival, and work with me. So he came and he worked with me for 2 weeks. We got to actually build the stage for Pearl Jam.
Oh, no way. That's so cool.
Really cool. So we built
Very
the stage
cool.
for Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam. We got to watch Sting, which is really cool.
Very cool.
From the Police, which is really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he got to build this festival with me and spend quality time working with me, like doing something productive. And when we finished that 2 weeks of fun, and he got to meet all my friends and do this really great event, he had some play money, you know? So we actually went to Vegas for his birthday, which was the week after. And I took him to a nightclub in Vegas the first time of his life. And it was really, really special. You know, like his
Mm.
whole trip was supposed to be 2 weeks. It turned out to be 6. He was going through serious depression and suicide, and I was able to give him a way to escape that just for a moment. Yeah, it cost me money and time, but I loved doing it for him. And by the end of that trip, he was tearing up. I was tearing up. He's like, "Dude, like you changed my life. Like you really did. Like you helped me in ways that I couldn't even imagine, that I didn't realize I needed. And I'm gonna remember this the rest of my life. You know." And the best news is I'm in touch with him now, and he's doing well. You know, he's happy. He's good. He's not in the things that were bringing him down to hold him.
Right.
It's one of the most amazing experiences I got to do last year. You know, it was in October. So very grateful, very proud of myself that I was able to do that for someone that I care about, but
Right.
also just to give to you and to everyone else in the audience that it's like, you know, there is hope.
Mhm.
There are things we can do to help. Maybe not spend $1,000 like I did on a flight for your buddy, to try to enrich the lives of those around us and add value to them and meaning. You
Right.
know, and if I could do that with my friend and help him out, I'm not saying I could save everyone, but I saved him. You know, and he acknowledged it. I acknowledged it. I'm just grateful I could do that for him, and it made me happy. You know,
That's right.
so thanks for the story. Thanks for letting me tell that.
No,
And I
yeah,
hope that
man.
helps other people.
There's that saying, if you're blessed, then be a blessing to others, you know?
Right,
So,
right, exactly.
so knowing you're blessed, you were able to bless someone in return with that. Yeah. Man, what an incredible story, man.
Right?
And that's the
Full
thing
circle
that,
too.
yeah. And that's the thing is you never know by just that one experience for him kept him going with life, where he would always say, you know what, I have a new chapter in my life that just started. And
Yeah,
I'm looking forward than looking back.
that's correct.
Just
He was
because,
stuck in the past.
yeah, just because
Yeah,
of you, man. Just and that's the thing. It's okay to reach out and just do something, even if it's just, hey, let me buy you a coffee, man. Let's go to Starbucks. Hey, let me take you out for lunch. Go to freaking McDonald's or Burger King or
right, right.
just something like, and then people get like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, let me treat you out, man. It's
Yeah,
okay to give. Like, it doesn't always have to be money, just your time.
yeah,
Visit someone at
yeah.
their house, go visit your friend at their house, go visit your grandparents. Visit someone just by you being there present, it's just that's valuable. That's sometimes more worth more than money. Just you being present to give an ear to listen.
You know what's beautiful too, Josh, is that now my buddy Troy calls me and he's like, "Hey, dude, you just need to know whenever you come back, you have a place to stay. Like you like, you know, you're set. Just tell me you're coming. I got you." And I'm just,
That's
it's
funny, dude.
karma's real, man. Like,
That's awesome.
you put things out in the universe, the universe will give it right back to you. It's also why I try my best not to be nasty and mean to people. Like, I get mad, I get angry. Sometimes I get fucking so pissed. I wanna make other people feel the pain that I feel, like, because I'm so hurt. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it it doesn't do me any good to dwell because I'm not productive. I hurt myself and I hurt those around me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's much better to take that, internalize it, process it, move on.
Yeah.
And then next thing.
Right.
And the next thing hopefully is going to be more positive than that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best advice I have when it comes to channeling, you know, that kind of negative energy. You can't hold on to it. But you gotta face it. You gotta let it go. You gotta internalize it. You gotta process it. And it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry or sad.
Right.
It's not okay to hold it in and then let it out on the world when you explode.
Exactly.
Which
Or
I've done
keep
too
holding
much.
it in for months and months or weeks and weeks, you know?
Right.
Yeah, like I've been told, like I tell friends too, it's okay to not be okay, right? Because we're human. We have our
Yep.
days where it sucks. There's days that really do suck. You're like, God, today sucked. But then tomorrow's a new day, a new chapter. And a lot of it also pertains to your mentality, your mindset. How might your attitude towards life? Okay, yesterday I had a bad day. Well, how's today going to be? Well, it's your decision. You wake up, you try to change the mindset, all right, and go about your day. You know what I mean? Just find ways to make it different than the day prior. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I want to touch upon what you said earlier, which is just now, which is mindset. You know, I didn't realize how powerful mindset was until I hit college when I was about 20.
Yeah.
And mindset is something that you develop and you build, you know, and without the mindset that I've built for myself, well, I wouldn't be the musician I am today, nor the businessman that I am today.
Oh, there you
You
go.
know,
Yeah.
you know, it's I heard a quote that changed my mind completely. It was if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change.
There you go. Yep, the perspective.
And like you can look at negativity and like failure or things that happen to you as like, oh well, this sucks, you know. But you always have a new opportunity to grow from those moments. You know, I'm a quote guy. I heard another quote from Henry Ford. He says, "Failure is simply the opportunity to start again, except this time more intelligently."
Exactly, because you
You
learn
know.
experience. Yeah.
So in my opinion, like you can never really lose if you fail.
Right.
You just have to get back up and do it again, just more intelligently, right? But
Exactly.
if you quit, then you fail. Then you really lose. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so when it comes to entrepreneurship and when it comes to musicianship and artistry, you know, you're never gonna have songs that are always gonna be bangers, and you're never gonna have a business idea that always goes according to plan.
Mm.
You know, and if you face those failures, that's great. You learn from them, but don't quit. Always know that you never really lose at life, and you really never lose at anything until you give up and walk away.
Mm.
It's only until that. If you fall flat on your face, right, you get back up and you keep going. You know, you still got a marathon to run, essentially.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the point being of that is that, you know, your mindset is incredibly important. And if it wasn't for the mindset that I've built, I don't think I would be as ambitious as I am.
Mm.
I wouldn't have the vision that I want to achieve with my music and my business and my life.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the confidence in myself to keep going when shit gets tough. And I wouldn't have the resilience to push through countless failure, you know, countless hardship and countless just things getting in my way. And
Yeah.
the thing I can just tell myself and everyone else is that, you know, you got to build a strong mindset that works for you, that allows you to stay resilient and strong during those hardships. So that's all you got. That's all you got.
Man, well said, man. Wow.
Thank you.
Very true. Yeah.
It's because I've been there, done that.
No, I know you're sharing by experience. And that's what it's about. Yeah. No, thank you, Chris, for sharing that. It really does mean a lot. And I do want to ask for those that want to follow you on social media, how can they find you and your music?
Wonderful. Yeah, my social media is Chris Oak.
I'm sorry,
You can
you came out, the sound went out one more
No
time.
problem. So my Instagram is instagram.com/Chris Oak Music. Oak like the oak tree.
Okay.
And then you guys can also find me on TikTok, and then find my music on all streaming platforms on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. And then best thing is reach out and said that you were a fan of Joshua's podcast, that you were listening.
Well, thanks. Yeah, any support I can get, man, it's always such appreciated. But yeah, man, we're here to be the light of inspiration to those, and for you as well, man, for what you're doing. Thank you for being a light of inspiration, helping
Thank you,
others.
sir. Thank you, sir.
And sometimes it's like I was reading something the other day, and it says when you do help others, sometimes it doesn't always need to be in the limelight. Sometimes it doesn't always need to be broadcasted. Oh, I helped someone, but God or the universe or who you believe saw that.
Yeah,
They saw it.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, what it does to you is what matters as well. you know and I'm not saying it's bad to address things that we've helped people with and all that, of course, like we can talk about it, and but I'm just saying not all the time where if there's someone's going to be the to watch it to be like, oh, I saw what Joshua did, isn't that great, what he, what I mean. But the thing is, as long as you know in your heart
Yeah.
help someone, and I don't ask for nothing
Yeah.
in return, as I have
Yeah.
very genuine about that, to be like, hey, I didn't ask for nothing in return, then you made a difference, and that's what
Of
it
course.
matters.
I mean, you asked me to do an interview with you, and I feel flattered as hell that I get to be part of this and share the story with you. It's great,
Well,
for me, but also I get to share my story, and it also helps your show, which
yeah,
I
it's
love, and I would happily do this again with you anytime. This was fantastic. Maybe
heck
we do
yeah.
an update in a couple of years and see how the journey's been. You know what I mean?
Well, no, dude, not even a couple of years. We're gonna start in I would say September for your music video release. We could follow up on
Great.
that.
Love to do that. That'd be great, actually, because then we can promote both at the same time. That'd be excellent.
Mm.
Going back to what you said, you know, my buddy Troy, right, that I helped out, that I had him come and visit me.
Yeah.
I had no idea how much him coming to stay with me and what I did for him was actually something that was for us.
Mm.
It helped me in ways that I didn't even realize. You know what I mean? So I didn't need acknowledgement. I don't need
Yeah.
anyone giving me like a good job for you, good for you, you're a good dude. Like I don't need that crap. Like what I really need is what I couldn't even see or realize that I was gonna get out of it. Because
Wow.
now that I know what that feels like,
Yeah.
it's like I know in my heart now for the rest of my life that I did my freaking best for that boy that did his best for me,
Yeah.
and that it made a difference. And just knowing that gives me a peace of mind, knowing that, like, yeah, if I died right now, I did some good in the world. And that's some good in the world that I'm proud of. And
Right.
I don't need acknowledgement or any accolades, any rewards. That fills my soul enough.
Yeah. That's right, man. Even in that little world that you have in our my little world, as long as we change certain people that are in our lives for that, that's what matters, man. We may not be able to change the whole world, but what we can change is the world within our lives of the people we know, people that know of us, family, friends. That can help, man. That goes a long.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then they'll be the light to helping their friends, and then just grows from there.
Yeah. That's the I think that's the meaning of life.
That's
It's
I was about to say the circle of life. And then
yes.
I
Just,
thought
just
the Lion King song coming. Oh, dude.
see about
But all right, man. Well, thank you so much, Chris Oak, for coming on Rhythm and Road, sharing an incredible story, and especially your late friend, but just the journey of that. And yes, you did what you can. You did what you could, right? And I mean, in the end, it's just, hey, there's no regret. Is just the fact that in the end you decided, you know what, I did my best, and I feel like for those that are watching, like I said, it's okay to get the help you need. Go to your close friends, family. It's no shame in it. Get the help you need.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Don't think that you're by yourself in this world, because you're not.
you're
And
not
if you feel
alone.
that, who's still watching, who's still there for you.
That's
Be
right.
good.
Yeah.
Mr. Joshua Jacob, I had such a pleasure talking to you today. What a wonderful time.
Yes. Same here, Chris. Thank you. And guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for watching.